With parents choking their children, extremely gory Halloween visual gags, and the boundaries pushed on animated nudity, you'd think a show like The Simpsons leaves very little on the cutting room floor. Well, get ready to see some of the craziest deleted scenes, extended moments, and alternate endings Fox Network never put on air, no matter how much Bart tried to manipulate and convince them otherwise. One sec though, after you check out all of these deleted Simpsons scenes, why don't you check out our friends over at The Binger for fun lists, Marvel videos, and everything animation.
Your daddy's gonna kill you.
Bart Simpson has had some cruel thoughts and plans in his day, but a scene made for the season 4 episode The Front may have pushed his bad boy act a little too far. In a fantasy sequence, Bart imagines what it would be like to steal Santa's sleigh full of presents, and he decides to do this with a machine gun pointed at the jolly guy. Ay caramba! We imagine Fox executives didn't want younger viewers getting the same idea and possibly causing some chaos with their own local mall Santas. Even if it was just a fantasy scene, the high-powered gun was a bit too much, especially when it was pointed at the symbol of Christmas. At least Bart didn't have to take any shots during the fantasy sequence.
Merry Christmas, suckers.
Poor Krusty can never catch a break. His show has been canceled or reworked a number of times over the years, but none may have hit him more than in the episode Krusty Gets Canceled. In a deleted scene, the cable TV clown gets desperate for viewers and enlists the help of his own book featuring very intimate positions while in bed. He goes on to show the cover of the book and even attempts to flip the pages on the inside. Only getting more desperate by the moment, Krusty proceeds to act out the possibility of the clown starring in a hemorrhoids commercial. Sadly, this deleted scene probably wasn't even Krusty's saddest moment on the show. If there's one area where The Simpsons has free reign, it's during their annual Treehouse of Horror episodes. The 4th edition featured a short entitled The Devil and Homer Simpson, where Homer is sent to hell by a devilish Ned Flanders. One of the cutscenes features the devil using Homer's head as a bowling ball and rolling it down a lane filled with spiked pins at the end. The top of his head shatters after getting rolled, and in typical Homer fashion features no brain on the inside. The scene itself isn't the most graphic, but the idea of hell, severed heads, and violent bowling may have been a little bit too much for network television in 1993. Also, seeing this scene helps explain why Homer was headless during the courtroom scene, which actually aired in the episode. The Treehouse of Horror episodes are known for sending up a lot of horror classics including The Twilight Zone, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Cape Fear. But one of the more memorable was the Treehouse of Horror 5 special featuring a send-up of The Shining, the biggest thing missing from the on-air segment, some creepy twins! And we all know Springfield has plenty of them. In a deleted scene, Bart ditches The Shining's tricycle for a skateboard and nearly runs into Sherry and Terry, Bart's schoolmates who proclaim his father is going to kill him.
Your daddy's gonna kill you.
Hey, what else is new? If Bart wasn't scared enough, he spins around to spot his Aunt Patty and Selma, confirming the little girl's proclamation. Maybe it was the hole in the throat with smoke coming out of it that got this scene the axe. Nothing like a couple of drunk pilot jokes before going on your next vacation. In another outlandish plot, aren't they all? Homer gets kicked out of Moe's, tries out other bars, and eventually finds himself at an airport bar only pilots are allowed to drink at. But where exactly did the extra pilot's uniform come from? Well, a deleted scene shows the crazy hijinks when an impaired pilot actually jumps off the roof of the bar and falls to his possible death. Joking about drunk pilots is one thing, but maybe pilots stripping down to their undies and taking a flight of their own isn't the best option. When a film festival comes to Springfield, everyone pulled out all the stops to make a short film in the episode A Star is Burns. While we caught glimpses of a lot of them, including Hans Moleman's movie, one risque subject was left on the cutting room floor. And out of all the crazy places in Springfield, this came from Abe and his elderly buddies over at the Springfield Retirement Castle. Using an old-fashioned film camera and getting the residents to use some of the most cliché adult film lines, we see Jasper and Mrs. Glick star in What the Film Boy Saw. Don't worry though, the seduction scene is pretty much just the old couple in regular clothes still. For those of us watching in the 1990s, we spent a majority of the 1995 summer guessing who shot Mr. Burns, and collecting Butterfinger wrappers to try and win a contest. When it was finally revealed to be Maggie Simpson, many of us were shocked, including a lot of the production crew. The reason? Multiple alternate endings were animated and filmed for the cliffhanger. These alternate endings were animated to help prevent spoilers from leaking to the public. Some of the scenes made were clearly gags, and a majority of them aired in the 138th episode Spectacular. popular. The alternates included suspects like Smithers, Apu, Moe, and even Seymour Skinner. One of the craziest was Santa's little helper holding a gun in his mouth and pulling the trigger to blast Mr. Burns away. Principal Skinner may seem like a humorless school principal, but there's clearly a deep and dark past the show rarely explores. While we all have seen him mention his time in Vietnam before, the true horror he encountered was revealed in a deleted scene for the episode The Boy Who Knew Too Much. While sequestered with Homer, Skinner has vivid Vietnam nightmares. All the while, Homer listens and cheers him on, while chomping on some popcorn. The scene doesn't last long, but long enough to be comfortable. We guess mocking PTSD was a bit too much, even for The Simpsons. With 30-plus seasons of content, there are only so many couples the show can play around with. One that has been teased over the years is the odd couple of Lisa and Nelson. In Lisa's date with Density, the pair got closer than ever, but it could have gone even further if Lisa's fantasy scene made it to the air. In the fantasy, Lisa rides with Nelson on the back of a motorcycle before stopping at a house. Out of nowhere, Nelson pulls out a baby, their baby, who looks similar to Lisa, but with Nelson's nose. The kicker comes when they claim the baby was made from their love for each other. The whole thing's pretty interesting considering they're still portrayed as being 8 and 10 years old. Yikes!
Feast your yams on this!
Our baby! Oh, we had a baby!
Long before movements like Me Too got national attention, The Simpsons were taking on sexual harassment in their own way. In the 1994 episode Homer Badman, Homer gets accused of sexual harassment when a rare gummy bear gets stuck on the rear of the family babysitter. For a majority of the rest of the episode, Homer goes through a gauntlet of public humiliation and criticism, including by a huge group of college students. In one of the episode's cut scenes, the college protests happen right outside the home. At the same time, Homer and Marge try to make love. The chant and taunting of Homer prevent anything from happening in the bedroom, and those same chants also caused the scene to get cut from airing in the final broadcast version of the episode. Over the years, The Simpsons have had a great collection of musical numbers and a number of soundtrack releases, but there have been a lot of songs that just weren't up to par. One of them came from the Mary Poppins-inspired episode Simpsons Califragilisticexpialidocious grunt Chiss. In the episode, the Simpsons kids and their new nanny go to visit Patty and Selma, only to be forced to listen to a song about how much they love smoking. Not the greatest message for the kiddos out there. Not to mention seeing the twins light up dozens of cigarettes at once didn't provide any laughs. And the lack of the laughs is the main reason this dud of a song was cut.
Like a chimney, although we'll croak.
When Springfield is threatened with the arrival of an impending comet, Homer takes his family to the Flanders bomb shelter. Just minutes inside, and everyone quickly realizes they were probably better off in the real world. Bart may have had it worst off, especially when you get more of a revelation through a deleted scene. As the Simpsons hunker down with the Flanders clan, Bart finds out their TV gets no channels, and the only magazines available are Ranger Rick. But not just any Ranger Rick. Censored issues where black bars cover up private areas of forest animals, like raccoons and bears. After seeing the first 10 Treehouse of Horror episodes, you may have thought you saw it all, but you ain't seen nothing until you've seen the deleted scenes from the Human vs. Dolphin War. The premise alone was outlandish, and animators really pushed the limits. One of the more insane parts involved Moe shoving a gas nozzle into the spout of a dolphin, filling up the animal's insides and then dropping a lit match in so the aquatic animal would explode. Nothing like family TV night to watch animated dolphin guts splatter across the screen. Everyone knows Marge can be a nag, but no one really puts the blue-haired mother in her place. Well, leave it to a bunch of classic rock stars to give it to Marge brutally, honestly, and completely uncensored. The Who guest starred in the episode A Tale of Two Springfields and performed a small concert for pretty much just the Simpsons family. When the performance ended, Marge began complaining how chilly it was, and the Who performer Roger Daltrey dropped an F-bomb on her before pummeling her face with a microphone. Of course, the rock star cursing wouldn't fly through FCC censors, so the line was replaced with a much tamer, "Get out of the way, Marge." Thankfully, the original audio was released to keep up with the Who's rock star image.
A little chilly.
Get out of the way, Marge!
If there's one episode Simpsons fans do not want to see deleted scenes for, it's Season 12's Homer vs. Dignity. The episode features Homer doing all kinds of crazy acts at the bemusement of Mr. Burns. But no one at home was laughing, especially during the extremely awkward Panda on Homer scene. And to think, the episode could have been even worse. One of the earliest cutscenes involved a final act of Homer throwing pig's blood on a crowd of people and ruining Christmas forever. Thankfully, Mr. Burns is the one left in throwing fish guts, and the leftover fishy smell just about sums up this episode for all of us. Nothing like adding Cletus to a Simpsons episode for some off-the-wall fun. Well, apparently he had a little too much fun, as one of his deleted scenes involves an unusual new pet for the oddball Springfield citizen. In the episode Trilogy of Error, Homer notices something on Cletus's ear, and it turns out to be a tick. Cletus goes on to tell Homer it's no ordinary tick, it's Chester, a tick who's been feeding off of him for who knows how long. Chester's scene has even earned the thick and gross tick his own Simpsons wiki page. When The Simpsons ran out of horror movies to parody on the Treehouse of Horror, the series quickly branched out to sci-fi and fantasy, like Harry Potter. Whiz Kids reimagined Springfield as a Hogwarts-like school, but between floating lawnmowers, Bart performing wand pranks, and a little wizard magic, some stuff had to be cut. One of the scenes was a pretty gross gag where Smithers, in the form of a snake, is fed a whole rabbit when Mr. Burns feeds it to him. Even in animated form, we end up feeling a little sorry for the rabbit. After years of some questionable parenting and pretty much letting Bart and Lisa roam around Springfield, Marge and Homer finally get a little punishment in the Parent Rap. Both Homer and Marge are forced to wear a wooden stock while punished, and a deleted scene showcased how hard the wooden stocks made it to complete everyday tasks. One of these tasks, having some alone time at night. After a few failed attempts, the two give up and are stuck in their own traps, laying so close, yet feeling so far from each other. There's nothing like revisiting Homer's childhood in the episode The Blunder Years. If you wanted to see more of the hijinks between Homer, Lenny, Carl, and Moe, then you would have to pop in the Simpsons Season 13 DVD. In a cut scene, the boys travel across a railroad track like the classic film Stand By Me. Lenny decides to put a coin on the track, and the boys listen as a train actually derails and falls into the water due to the incident. The conductor got away, but who knows if any other victims were on board. We imagine the scene was cut so it didn't take away from the emotional impact of a young Homer finding a dead body just a few scenes later. Bart Simpson has been 10 years old for over 30 years now, and yet after all this time, he still has a lot of maturing to do. In the episode Sweets and Sour Marge, a deleted scenes shows Bart and Milhouse explore a few books they probably wish remained on the library shelf. One of the titles includes Encyclopedia Brown and the Case of the Strange New Feelings. Why did the title character have some strange new feelings? Well, Bart and Milhouse found out in the form of some really long showers the main character was taking. A bunch of parents probably didn't want to explain this one to their children. You know, other than lying and saying how high the water bill could be. When Homer and Marge are alone in their room, we often get to see a lot of intimate moments between the bed sheets. But even Fox has their limits for what gets on air. In one of the ultimate moments of innuendo between the couple, Homer tells Marge that his little Homer needs some attention. Just before your mind reaches the adult humor corner, Homer pulls out a literal little Homer from underneath the bed. The toy doll looks like it's had a lot of use over the years, and Marge quickly tells him to put it away. Despite showing the moment in the promos for the episode, Fox censored the scene and cut the gag, so their complaint department would have the night off. When The Simpsons watch TV, we always get a kick out of the fictional shows. But in the episode Bart vs. Lisa vs. 3rd Grade, we missed out on one of their funniest programs. The Simpsons kids were watching a new reality show called We're Gonna Tell Your Mom. The premise involved a hidden camera team who spy on teenage girls making out with guys, busting them and revealing the show's title and catchphrase, We're Gonna Tell Your Mom. The absurd premise was probably a show on MTV2 at some point, or at least gave cable networks at least 6 spin-off ideas based on the premise alone. Maybe the content was too risky, or it was cut for time, but the gag is definitely worth checking out. Sideshow Bob has spent multiple decades serving as the ultimate menace to the Simpsons family. This is why it's so odd the serial killer was invited to stay in the home for the episode The Great Louse Detective, when Homer seeks his help to capture someone trying to murder him. In a deleted scene, Marge looks for a safe place for Bob to sleep and offers up Maggie's room. His reasoning? Maggie and Bob have both killed people before. Say what? Maybe Marge's mothering skills would have been judged a little too harshly if this scene was actually included. Then again, they did let Sideshow Bob in the house in the first place. For years, Principal Skinner and teacher Edna Krabappel built up their relationship until the two were ready to say "I do" in the episode My Big Fat Geek Wedding. Before Edna walks down the aisle, a deleted scene features a small moment between Otto and Edna. Instead of wishing her luck on the wedding day, Otto talks about how he would have hooked up with Edna multiple times if Skinner wasn't their boss. Yikes! Talk about terrible timing. Edna walks out on the wedding anyway, but if the cut scene was kept in, many people probably would have thought Otto was the sole reason why. And in the end, the couple do not get married at all, leaving a little hope open for Otto. Ned has always come across a clean-cut guy who always does the right thing, but the 15th Treehouse of Horror showcases some deep thoughts and feelings in the short entitled The Ned Zone. Ned has the ability to see the future in the episode, including how every citizen in Springfield dies. For Homer's vision, it's actually Ned who is the one to shoot him. After the initial vision, the deleted scenes go further to showcase Ned declaring his love for Marge and smacking a big kiss across her lips. Are these true deep feelings Ned has, or does the deleted scene remain non-canon, much like the Treehouse of Horror episodes already are? Let's just run with it. Ned is secretly in love with Marge Simpson! Phew! Ned and Marge Simpson may be hard to imagine together, but you know what's easy to imagine? Checking out great content like this on our new channel, The Binger. Don't have a cow, man! Go look at some of the great list videos and content they have over there. Wow! You could compile a whole other season of the show with just the deleted scenes alone. What were your favorites? Any great ones we missed? Should Fox release more Simpsons DVDs so we can enjoy this great content? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Screen Rant for more great videos!